These are 10 most unbelievable true crime stories ever shared. Joe Rogan. Episode number 1614. Joe Rogan and Tiller Russell ask, why are some women drawn to serial killers? They unpack the dark psychology behind fame, danger, and desire.
Do you ever do a demographic breakdown of who watched, like does Netflix have a demographic breakdown of who watches those crime shows? Because it's mostly women, isn't it?
Anecdotally, that's what everybody says. There was a funny bit on Saturday Night Live the other night that was like, what do ladies do when they're home alone? Wait, then they like throw on the murder shows.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. It's a weird thing. And when we were making Night Stalker, we would get to the point in the interview where it's finally, I would ask everybody, like, okay, so for some reason or another, this guy becomes like the Jim Morrison of serial killers, because like when he's paraded through the courtroom, all of a sudden he's got these like groupies and fans, and they're sending him, and I had gotten access to all of the like naked pictures that the girls are sending in, because this author had written a book about him, had all this stuff. And I was like, and you always have to kind of ask that awkward question of like, so why does this guy become this sort of crazy sex symbol object of desire, obscure object of desire? And it's always like kind of particularly with the women who are being interviewed, but everybody. And nobody quite has an answer. Is it the bad boy thing? Is it the celebrity thing? But this is somebody that like, I think as one of the people said, this is somebody that would eat you for dinner, not like, it's craziness to have any attraction to it, but yet it exists. This guy has like groupies and fans.
And it's very common for murderers to get,
Hugely
especially
common.
murderers of women, to get all these propositions from women.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Super strange.
And, I read something about that. No, Whitney Cummings was actually telling me about this. She said she read that it was something that had to do with, there was like an evolutionary benefit to getting close to killers. Like that, I think this is theoretical.
In what regard?
That the idea of it's very hard to kill someone.
Once you have like human personal contact? Is that what you're saying?
No. No, that the act of killing someone, that it's difficult to do, and that it requires like someone who is to be capable of taking another person's life. And to be close to that person means somehow or another you're protected by them, and that they're willing to kill, and that this is like something that existed thousands and thousands of years ago in our DNA, this desire to be close to killers because you were more likely to survive because there were so many killers. Like if you went back in time, a few thousand years ago, murder must have been like really common. Like when people were sword fighting all the time and
dude, there's a
stabbing
crazy book on this. Steven
Yeah?
Pinker wrote this book called The Better Angels of Our Nature. And what he does is he tracks over time kind of the nature of violence in humanity.
Yes.
And he's like, okay, once upon a time there's Cain and Abel, and Cain kills Abel. Like the murder rate is like 50%. So actually we've been trending up ever since then. And like it literally looks at how, over time, the incidence of like violence has actually, even though it doesn't seem like that, dramatically decreased in humanity.
It does seem like that. I think we just focus on the instances of violence because we have mass media.
Right.
And because
it's fascinating.
Yeah. And if it bleeds, it leads. So there's
But why is that? Like that's something that, making The Night Stalker or even making Silk Road, it's like, why are we fascinated by the underworld? The sort of like the worst things that people do to each other. Like, what is it? And you're participating in it. I'm participating in it. Anytime we're watching it, making it, or whatever, we are all in some way complicit in that.
Episode number 150. Joe Rogan and Daniel Cormier revisit the chilling case of the dating game killer, a serial murderer who once... Joe Rogan and a former CIA agent unravel the dark web of the Epstein case, missing tapes, broken cameras, and deadly secrets.
Well, how about the other
So
prince?
you got to go to again.
How about the other prince, the one that's Epstein's friend?
Oh, Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
What?
Yeah.
First of all, how odd is that
Yeah.
guy when they're interviewing him and talking to him?
yeah.
It's like, what?
The Queen kicked him to the curb. very quickly.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
it's very strange.
Yeah.
What is your take on this whole Epstein thing? First of all, can we just agree? Look at that. So
Yeah.
you sure she's 18?
So you're telling me that, yeah.
She does not look 18. She looks 16. Are you sure? You sure?
Man, what a shit show that is.
Yeah, what a shit show. So let me ask you this right off the bat.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what I'm going to ask you. He didn't kill himself, right?
I don't believe so.
Thank you.
No.
There's
You know,
the
and you know
one
me,
peop-
I'm not a conspiracy guy, right?
Right.
I don't disappear down rabbit holes very often, but no, I don't think there's any way in hell he killed himself.
Michael Shermer, who's the head of Skeptics magazine, who doesn't believe anything, found out that the tapes were missing and that the cameras didn't work and that the tapes were accidentally deleted from the first time he
Yeah.
attempted suicide. And Shermer's like, oh, this is a conspiracy. Like, it was enough evidence that one of the biggest a professional skeptic.
Yeah.
Professional, he doesn't believe anything.
No. There's no way I could be convinced that he offed himself.
No way.
So
He knew too much.
Yeah. And you know, it's astounding, but yeah, what a shit show. But you know, nobody's going to get to the bottom of anything.
But that's a crazy one. Like, they got him in the jail. The guards are somehow or another getting in trouble, so who knows what the guards are going to say. They might get suicided. My favorite part was the guy they chose for his cellmate. Do you see the fucking gorilla they chose for his cellmate?
Yeah, reminded me of that that old Richard Pryor movie. I don't know if you remember that one.
The guy, look at this fucking guy.
Yeah.
This giant Goomba, this huge Italian ex-cop who's a murderer and a drug runner. I mean, this guy is built like a brick shit house, and this is Epstein's cellmate.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Like, you can't even make this stuff up. Like,
Says he never touched him.
Of course. Why would I touch him?
Nicholas Tartaglione.
Yeah. What does it say? Timeline of events in quadruple homicide? Is that what it says?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So this fucking guy, this giant...
He likes dogs, though.
Yeah, he loves dogs. They keep him from all the people that he killed. Yeah. They bark when they're coming around. You can grab your gun. It's a good move. It's just crazy. There's so many pieces to the puzzle that are so ridiculously obvious. And then when you find out that Clinton flew with him at least 26 times.
Yeah.
26 times.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Hey,
Yeah,
Jeff was
what
a
do I
good
know?
guy.
Yeah. No, it's just one of those things. And again, I'm not a buyer on these sort of things, but you look at it, you look at the facts around and you think there's no way in hell. Yeah. That guy must know. You would have thought that Epstein would have said to himself, I'm gonna get killed here if I'm not careful.
Well, he probably didn't think it was ever going to get to the point where they were actually jailing him. You know, when they actually
that's true.
got, because remember he had that deal where he was on work release, so he could just do whatever he wanted and fuck off for 16 hours a day. Then he had to check into the jail at night.
Yeah.
And who even knows what that means? He might have checked in and just went home again. And it seems like they had set something up for him to make it very easy for him to be incarcerated for what should be a pretty heinous crime. I mean, he was
You would think, yeah.
sex with underage girls,
Right.
and
Sex trafficking.
Yeah,
I mean, not
sex
just
trafficking.
him doing it. Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it's just the extent to which, and so yeah. But then you look at I forget what her name is. His
Giselle?
assistant Giselle. Yeah,
what is his name? Ghislaine?
Ghislaine,
Ghislaine
something.
How do you
Maxwell.
say it? What do you say?
It has an S in it, but I've heard it pronounced with the S or without. So Ghislaine or Ghislaine.
Okay.
I don't know.
Ghislaine or Ghislaine. Whatever. G.
depends.
Let's
Yeah.
call her G Rocker.
Yeah.
So G Rocker's out there hiding in the bushes in Colombia or something, right?
Where is she? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I
know.
mean, she must be you would assume they've deposed her at this point, or
She must have something. She must have some fucking kill switch where if the shit goes down, all the Clinton tapes come piling out onto the fucking floor of
somebody
Glenn
must
Greenwald's
have.
house.
You would think. You brought it around to Glenn Greenwald.
Hey, Glenn, it's Bill. Can we talk?
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
you know what? Maybe I should convince. There she is.
There,
yeah.
That's when she was at In-N-Out reading a book on ex-CIA agents who have been murdered. That's literally what she was reading a book on, right? Wasn't that? Yeah. It was about CIA operatives that have been murdered. So the idea was that what they said, what people believe, and there's many different versions of what people believe, but look how many pictures she posed for. It's so strange. But what many people believe was that what he was doing was compromising a lot of these wealthy, powerful people by getting videotapes of them hooking up with young girls, including Prince Andrew, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and for whatever reason,
Have you heard of anything like this before? Is this something that's been done in the past?
Not that I've heard of. I'm sure it's anytime you see some freak show, it's never the first time it's happened, right?
Right.
I mean, it's so you have to assume it's happened, but to the degree that it's got this level of celebrities and big time names,
It works so well. And I'm going to tell you something after the show's over. Something after the show's over. But
you can just tell me it's just you and me talking. If you whisper,
I hear you in my ears.
The North Koreans
really
used to do
loud.
that. Sorry about that. The North Koreans used to. That was their phone security. Is they would get on the phone and when they had something really classified to talk about, they would whisper. Yeah. So I think, oh, good.
That's hilarious.
We'll never figure that out.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Really, that's how they did it?
Yeah. Well, part of it was years ago. I think they just never believed any Westerner could understand Korean. I think that was kind of part of it, was that they just believed we were all too stupid, or we were just so complicated that we'd never be able to figure out what they were saying in their own language.
That's the price you pay for being so insulated,
Yeah,
right? You don't really understand what's really going on in the outside world because they don't really have the internet.
When was the last time we talked about North Korea?
It's been quite a while.
We just pushed that right off the front.
But to get back, we can talk about North Korea. But to get back to this Epstein thing, is that a common strategy that intelligence agencies would use, where they would try to compromise people in order to get, like, what would be the benefit if you had, like, if the Mossad was doing that and they were doing that and using that's the theories that Epstein.
Right. Yeah, it's a good point. I'd say from an intel services perspective, I mean, one thing I will say is the U.S. And people are never going to believe this because I'm saying it. They'll say, "Oh, that's bullshit." But the U.S. The agency doesn't do that. We don't use honey traps. We don't do that sort of thing because that sort of leverage it's always going to head south on you. And so we don't, try to coerce somebody in that sort of a relationship that then we can take advantage of. And yet other services do. The Russians being one of them, they do that all the time. Israelis, they've had some very successful efforts to do that. And if you get somebody in that position, it really doesn't matter how they're compromising themselves, whether you're putting themselves in with like an Epstein situation where suddenly you've got them, got video of them with an underage person, or whether they've provided a document that they shouldn't provide. It's all this. The concept is always the same, right? It doesn't matter what that action is. You're getting them on the hook. You're getting something that's leverageable over them, and if they don't just go forward immediately, say, and turn around to their boss and say, "I'm guilty, did this, sorry," then they're compromised. And then you've got them. As an intel service, you've got them. You can start reeling the hook in because now, you know that not only did they do something that provided you with a document, even if it was an unclassified document. If I go to somebody, if I'm developing a relationship with somebody, some target overseas or whatever, and I'm thinking, all right, I'm exploring. This person's got access. They're in an interesting position. They're in an interesting job. And they've got access to information that we want to know. That's priority target. And then I want to say, okay, now I want to develop a relationship a little bit. Maybe I bump into the person at a few parties. Maybe we're in the same parent-teacher organization, whatever the shit is, right? And our kids play on the same soccer team. So then I go and I think, okay, what do I want to do? I want to test the waters a little bit. I'm not going to say, hey, listen, I understand you work at the foreign ministry here in whatever country you happen to be in. How about you give me some documents? But instead, maybe it's something different. Maybe they work at the foreign ministry. Maybe they work at a aerospace business. That's a target. And you say, but you've developed a bit of a relationship, and then you say, yeah, my kid's doing this school project, and it's all about whatever hypersonic flight, and that they work at some aerospace company, and say, do you have anything just on hypersonics, and you're not looking for anything classified, you're just looking for a research paper or a study or something, and if they come back and say, yeah, you know what, here, this is an interesting study, and they now, that act alone, they're not giving you something classified, but that act alone means something big, right? It means they were taskable in a sense, right? They responded to your request for information.
They're suckers.
Not suckers necessarily. It could be an enormously smart person, but and smart people get suckered into it. I guess you could put it that way. But Yeah. So anyway, then you go from there. Then you ratchet it up slowly, bit by bit. If you've got the time frame to do it, maybe sometimes you got a shortened time frame because there's a requirement to get something, and you got to accelerate the whole process. Anyway, but point being is it's all leverageable, and Epstein was obviously getting leverage on all these different people for whatever his purpose was.
What do you think? That's what the question was. Like, what could he possibly? A lot of them were scientists. He went with a lot of like celebrities. There was heads of state.
I don't think he needed money.
Right. Well, what was he?
I don't know. I mean, maybe he just, who knows? Maybe he got off on sort of being the kingpin in this whole thing, it's a good question.
It had to be funded, right? So I mean, there had to be something valuable that they were getting from it. I'm guessing.
I don't know.
It hasn't been spelled out to me.
Yeah.
Like I've tried to figure out the angle, but I mean, I get the idea of you would have leverage over these people, you'd have them in compromising situations, and then they would do things for you. But what would they do for you?
Yeah.
Like what? Yeah. What is he getting Bill Clinton
it's
to do?
It's a good question.
For him?
And providing him with access, maybe he liked being close to the seat of power, or maybe he liked being close to what he thought was like a royal family member. Maybe who knows? Because it sounds like he had all the money he needed.
Right.
So maybe it was that sort of access that blew his skirt up. I don't know, but it is interesting. But I don't think. I mean, look, it's just like been kicked to the curb. Obviously, they're doing the trial, I guess, to some degree, but I don't know where they stand.
Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, nothing's going to happen.
We've already swept it under the rug, and there's already news stories out that have got our attention. We forget about things so quickly today. The news cycle is so fast. When something happens, even something as ridiculous as the Epstein case, where it's so obvious that he was murdered, and then Michael Baden goes on 60 Minutes and says, this is consistent with someone who was strangled. I've never, in all my years of seeing people hanged, I've never seen him with these kind of fractures. This is fractures are indicative of strangulation.
And that is one serious-minded dude too, right?
Michael
that guy,
Baden,
tremendous amount of experience, and he doesn't blow smoke up anybody's ass, right?
No.
He's very measured, and now obviously he was there on behalf of Epstein's brother, I guess. But anyway, it's one of those things where you think, maybe I'm going to put that down as something we should explore.
I want to go visit that cop in jail. See what he's probably got a fur-lined cell
Taglione?
now. Yeah, he's got a giant 72-inch TV.
Hey, all the dogs
back.
with him.
Yeah, all the dogs are there. What's happening here? He's got wire marks in his hands. Fucking tighten up on that. I mean, if you're going to get someone to strangle your cellmate, that's the guy, too. I mean, he'd fucking do it in 3 seconds. He's so big.
Yeah, you don't want somebody who's got to take their time because they can't exert enough pressure.
You want some Kevin Spacey dude strangling. It's going to take forever.
Hold still.
You want some big gorilla dude.
Yeah. Oh, God. Well, I tell you what, if this new series I'm doing gets picked up for a second season, well, I'm going to recommend to the producers they put the Epstein case on there, even though it's not quite in line with what we do, but still.
Yeah. Episode number 1947. Joe Rogan and Chris DiStefano share chilling true stories, from his mom's brush with Ted Bundy to prison tales of Son of Sam and the Amityville Killer.
That's sick. That's my favorite follow. That's Stoic Instagram.
Oh, Stoic is great. Yeah. Ryan Holiday's great, too.
Oh, yeah, Ryan Holiday, yeah. He looks like the guy that killed 4 college students in Idaho.
He does.
That's who I thought it was. I was like, oh, the Stoic is a mass murderer.
He's out. He's out. He's writing books about just being cool about everything. But
did you hear that, by the way, with Idaho? They're thinking about bringing back the firing squad if he gets convicted.
Oh, my God. Well, they think he might have killed people in Washington State, too. Is that where it was? It was somewhere else. There was another place where he lived where similar crime took place, and they think he was studying crime in college in order to get better at it.
Right.
It's really evil. It's an evil, scary story.
Yeah.
If all this they're accusing him is accurate, it's horrific that guy was out there.
Right. Dude, you want to hear a wild story? So my mom had a friend.
Let's see if we can find out if that's true, though.
Yeah.
Which part?
The part where they think that he might have committed a similar crime. Excuse me, somewhere else.
Here we go. See, this is what's happening now on an intermittent fasting stomach. I'm going to start getting crazy. It's going to, it might get bad in here.
Want to take another sniff?
Why the hell not?
All right, here we go. Ready?
Oh, that was deep.
Oh.
Joey went in.
I went in. Okay. Get in there, Chrissy. Woo, Jamie. No, Jamie said no. I didn't even get his full name out before no was coming out of his mouth.
Jamie, that one burned. That one fogged up my glasses. That one burned, baby.
I get it, dude. I want to lift right now. I want to do some deadlifts.
I seriously like, yeah, like I want to yeah.
Put the lid on it.
I want to like start doing jujitsu with you. I don't even know how to do it.
There's nothing like a freshie when you open them up fresh.
That is a freshie.
Yeah, when you let them sit for a while, they lose a lot of their potency. Like we had one that was here for a few months, and it had lost a lot of kick. But damn, when you open them fresh.
I don't see anything about other crimes. I'm looking still.
I believe it was where he was originally going to school.
Yeah, it said he was Washington State.
Yeah, but did you Google may have possibly committed similar crime in Washington State?
Washington crimes.
Okay.
Just Google may have possibly committed, wanted for possibly committing similar crime.
A lot of serial killers come from this part of the country.
He could be major link to other murders. This is it. And this is in Newsweek.
Okay.
I don't know though.
Oh, it says new evidence recovered may be a major link to the Idaho murders. He's been accused of fatally stabbing University of Idaho students. The search warrant, which was reported by the New York Times, discussed several items which were taken from his residence. Where is the thing about the other cases? Oh, here it is.
Attending another place. But.
And December 30th, he was arrested at his parents' residence in Pennsylvania. Extradited to Idaho, where he's currently charged. Koberger was attending Washington State University at the time of the murders.
Yeah, he looks like the guy from The Stoic.
But there was he does looks a lot like him. But Ryan Holiday's quite a bit more handsome. It's
Ryan
like
Holiday's
his older, like meaner brother.
Ryan Holiday, hottie with a body.
But
it says Pennsylvania was sifting through cold cases for links to him.
Oh, it was Pennsylvania?
That's where he was found.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's where they pulled him over, and he was in his parents' house. And because remember, the media was saying we don't have any leads, but the FBI was following him across the country.
Yeah, they can't just leak.
Yeah, you
all
can't
that
do
information. They're in the middle of an investigation of a fucking psycho.
But it is wild, like with these he's famous now for these murders, but as you said, could be stuff before. My mom had a friend, right? Grew up in Utah. Maybe she's 18, 19 years old, I don't know, whatever year, 70s, 80s, whatever. Goes on a date with a guy, right? Normal date, just met him, I think at the supermarket. Goes on a date with this guy, and she's at the table with him, and she feels very like a ominous feeling looking at this man. She's like, I'm looking at him, and I can see like there's nothing behind his eyes. Like there's just something that I don't like about this guy. So to the point where she has never done this, had never. She was only 18, but since this has never done this. She went to a payphone at the restaurant, called her brother, and was like, "Can you please come pick me up like immediately?" And stayed in the bathroom until her brother was outside, and went in the car and left. And she was like, "I'm just creeped out by this guy. I can't explain it. I'm creeped out. All this energy. I'm creeped out. Now, this man had picked her up from her house, so the brother had a paper route. He's leaving the next morning at 5 a.m., sees some ruffling in the bushes, okay? Crazy, right? Like whatever, sees a guy running out of the bushes, says, holy shit, whatever, runs back in the house, tells his mom and dad, sister wakes up, says he was wearing like a beige jacket. She's like, that's the guy I was on a date with. Like that, he was like waiting, he must have been like waiting for me, right? Whatever. Goes on, life goes on, what a psycho, lunatic boyfriend. 3 years later, Ted Bundy on the news. She was on a date with Ted Bundy before he had committed any murders, or he had committed murders but had not been famous for it yet, had not been convicted of it yet. She said when he saw him, she literally almost fell out of her chair because she was like, that look. She said that Ted Bundy, about, how everyone says he's so handsome, whatever, she said he would get a look over him when he was preying on a victim, which felt she was being preyed on, that she doesn't even look. He's like, he does not look like that. His face configures and contorts to something that looks so sinister that she literally was like, get me away from him now. So I was like, whoa, fucking Teddy B. Imagine you on a date with with a young Teddy B. That'd be fucking nuts, dude.
So he had already committed murders. So he was looking to murder her, and he was giving that energy out.
She said, based off when all his crimes were exposed, from what the FBI said, when she went on a date with him, let's say it was 1978, he had already been convicted, connected to murders in other parts of that. Because his first murders were in like the Utah region, and that's where they were.
Holy shit.
Wild, right?
Holy shit.
Dude. Fucking, it's pretty nuts. And then I think I might have said this on the last one, but T.T. Jerry, when she was in prison, served prison time with the son of Sam. She shared a wall with the son of Sam. 2 murderers. She shared a wall with the son of Sam and Ronald DeFeo from the Amityville Horror House, the man who killed all those people in the movie The Amityville Horror, who was really based off Ronald DeFeo. She was in prison with both of them at the same time, and the prisoners from Escape from Dannemora, who like that Showtime show that they made. So she was in like real deal prisoners. But she said the son of Sam. Now this was months before the Netflix documentary came out. T.T. Jerry said, she's like, the son of Sam, David, did not kill all those people. He was involved in a cult. There were other murderers, but the city pinned it all on him. And then a few months later, this Netflix documentary came out a couple of years ago, basically saying that most likely Son of Sam did not kill all those people. He killed maybe 1 or 2, but there was other murderers that just got away with it.
Do you know the Henry Lee Lucas story?
Henry Lee Lucas. Well,
Henry Lee Lucas, they made a film about him called Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Okay.
And it's a guy who got arrested for 62 murders. And he was basically a drifter, and he was traveling across the country murdering people.
Okay.
But they think that what really happened was they came up to him and they said, hey, Henry, there was a few people that were killed behind the bushes in Indianapolis in 76. We'd sure love to solve that crime. Was that you? Yep, that's me. I killed them too. Well, did you do it with a knife? Because we found a knife. Yep, knife. Killed him with a knife.
Yeah.
And this guy was basically a dullard and may have killed people. Like, a lot of drifters have killed people. But it seems like, Google that. Make sure I'm correct on this. I think now they think that they attributed a bunch of crimes to him that he couldn't possibly have committed.
It's a wild thing.
The depraved serial killer who confessed to hundreds of murders. See, this is it. So it was more than 62, which is what I think he was originally charged with. 600 people. Okay. Drawn together by shared childhood trauma, Henry Lee Lucas and Otis Toole became lovers, then serial killers who terrorized America in the 1970s. So but he confessed to hundreds of murders, but they think that some of them he couldn't possibly have done.
But did he stay in prison for the rest of his life because of it?
Yeah, I think they might have killed him
in prison.
I don't know what happened. I don't know if he's still alive. But see if he got if that's a story that they got him to confess to a bunch of murders that he couldn't have actually done.
That's a common thing, though, right? People confess to stuff all the time. There's a show on Apple TV. It was called Blackbird. It just came out last year. It's about a real story about a guy who, what his tactic would be, is he murdered a lot of people, but he would say to the police, "Oh, I murdered that girl in that county. I'm confessing to it." But then they would go through the research and be like, no, you couldn't have possibly. But he would cop to it. And then the cops would be like, he did that like 5 times. They'd be like, every county he was investigating, they'd be like, that's what he does. He confesses to murders. He's a bullshitter. But he really was killing people. He was confessing to false ones so he could get away with the real ones.
Holy shit.
Wild, right?
Holy shit.
So it's like some of these guys are so smart.
It's a cool show.
Dude, the show Black.
Holy
This actor, I think is William Hauser. Something.
good.
This is one of the best actors in my generation. No, Joe, I don't know if you know this guy. This guy's acting is like Daniel Day-Lewis level. He is a phenomenal actor. When you watch the show Blackbird, you cannot believe it. Where I'm like,
and this is on Apple Plus,
Apple TV. This is one of the best shows I've seen. Wow. Came out last summer.
No shit.
This kid is literally like phenomenal. And then I'm watching 101 Dalmatians a day later with my kids, and he's in that. I'm like, look at this fucking lunatic.
He plays Richard Jewell in the Richard Jewell movie about the Olympic Park bombing.
Yep.
Wow.
Unbelievable actor. He was also in that sketch show, I Think You Should Leave, on Netflix, which is one of the funniest sketch shows I've ever seen in my life. He's got great sketches in that. That guy, but that show, Blackbird, was it's unbelievable. So basically what happens is this guy who's from he's from a bunch of movies. This kid is ripped, by the way. This kid has to be intermittent fasting.
He's in not the Watchmen.
Samuel L. Jackson's in it. Yeah. It's a famous movie, and he's excellent in it. But basically, the premise of it's based on a true story. This guy, the hottie with the body, he gets convicted 10 years in prison for gun charges. I think he's a guy out of Massachusetts. So, and he was a good con man, right? This is all real. Good con man, could gift a gab, whatever. So the FBI wants to pin the guy with the mutton chops, Hauser, they want to pin, Larry Hall is his name in real life, they want to pin murders on him. They know that they've kind of caught up to his game now. They know that he lies about murders here to commit murders here. They know it, but they got to get him to confess to one of these murders because they found the girl's body because he was killing kids, like 14-year-old girls, like brutal shit, raping them, horrific. So they say to this kid, to the jacked guy, they say, look, you got the gift of gab. You got 10 years in federal prison, okay? You're 3 months into your sentence. We're going to transfer you to this maximum security prison where Larry Hall is. If you can get him to confess to the murder of this girl that we have evidence on, and you can get that, your sentence is commuted immediately and you're out of prison. That's all you got to do. But he was in a minimum security prison, so he would be able to either coast through 10 years or take a chance and go to the prison with murderers, rapists, and potentially be murdered in the shower stall. But if he can get this guy gift of gab and get him to confess, then he'll get out.
Holy shit.
And that's what the show's about. And it was, dude, amazing show. Like, edge of my seat. It was one of the best shows I've seen in a long time.
That's
I want to watch it. I want to watch it again on Smelling Salts.
Thank you for bringing that up. I'm fucking pumped about that. I've been looking for a new show.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, let me just finish the thought about Jerry. What I want to say is the Son of Sam thing. He said, he was a serial killer, yes, and don't get me wrong, murderer, deserves to be in prison. He said the biggest fucking lunatic. Like, he was like the only person who I met. I was like, this guy needs to be like either put to death or kept like in a cage, like under the jail. He said was Ronald DeFeo, who the Amityville Horror House guy, because he said he would cook for him all the time, Ronald DeFeo, and he would like let Ronald DeFeo like jerk off to him. They would put like a prison mirror, and he would like, because he was trans, Jerry, so he would shake his ass a little bit and let Ronald like get his rocks off, whatever. He didn't care. He said, but every morning he would make Ronald DeFeo Jr. like a little breakfast and his little, they had like little hot stoves in there. They would let prisoners like Jerry, after you did enough time, give you some stuff. He'd make a little bacon and stuff for him. And he said every morning, like clockwork, 7 days a week, every morning, bring Ronald his food and say, how was your night, Ronald? How are you feeling? He was like, good, I feel good. I didn't kill my grandma. It's the only thing. I killed everyone in that house, but I did not get my grandma. So, but everything else, other than that, it's good. And Jerry'd be like, okay. And then keep moving. So he's like, still, he's in prison and that is true. The only one he didn't kill in that house, the grandma either got out or wasn't there, but he was like, there's no rehabilitation for that man. He genuinely believes if he does not kill he would say to him, if I don't kill my grandma, I'm not getting into heaven. So he had it warped. He killed his entire family. And he's like, that's how I get to heaven. But I got to get the grandma. And then he died in prison recently. But I was like, whoa, shit. I know, it's wild.
Episode number 1934. Joe Rogan and Lex Fridman dissect the case of a killer who Googled every step of his crime, from dismembering a body to getting away with murder.
Yeah, what are you doing with that girlfriend?
Yeah,
she keeps,
come on, Lex.
She keeps being mean to you, nagging you all the time. You don't need her.
Coming off like a bitch, Lex. You don't want to do that. She's not going to respect you. You're going to have to break up with her just so she respects you.
Why don't you murder her, Lex?
Yeah, Lex. There's a way to get away with it. I'm just saying. Joking around, buddy. Joking around. Next thing you know, it's talking you into the swamp with a fucking body bag.
Did you hear the story about that guy that Googled all this stuff about like what to do with your body?
Oh my God. He Googled till like 9:30 in the morning. That sick fuck. Like, how dumb. I guess some people. Look, we know. This is fact. We know some people are just really fucking dumb. They really can't see the future. I want to know if that guy was on anything, too. I want to know if he was on any kind of psych meds.
Can you tell me the story again?
Oh, some guy killed his wife, man. And they found his Google search. It's horrific. It's like how to dismember a body. How long does it take for a body to dissolve? It's like, ugh. Is it best to cut someone up or move them whole? Like, he just Googled the most horrific, and he did it for like the entire night into the morning.
Is there results for that in a Google search?
What happens if you put body parts in ammonia? How to clean blood from a wooden floor, dismemberment and the best ways to dispose of a body. Can identification be made on partial remains? How long does DNA last? Like, what the fuck, man? How long before a body starts to smell? Can he be charged with murder without a body? This guy is fucking, it's so sick. So this dude just goes through Google all night long trying to figure out how to get away with murder.
Well, he might actually get off on just asking the question, right?
No, because then they found a bloody knife.
Yeah, like he went to the store and
yeah,
bought
they
no,
found.
I'm not like pushing back. I'm just saying he might also get off on
I don't think he's getting off at all. I don't think he has a chance of getting off.
I
That
have
guy's-
a lot of questions
They
about
found the knife.
human nature after. Maybe I'm naive in this, but I watched the Dahmer documentary.
Yeah.
No, not the documentary.
The movie.
The movie.
Yeah.
And then also the documentary is like, it gives you very different perspectives on what like.
Are you a Dahmer sympathizer now, boy?
No.
Okay.
No. But like, it makes
Seem
you
like
realize.
you're going that direction.
No, it makes you realize that some people's brain is broken,
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
and that's like,
Yeah.
and then some people's brain might be a little bit broken, and then they're still functioning members of society, but they might be extreme narcissists, they might be sociopaths, psychopaths, and you have to kind of understand that the world is full of potentially not full of, but has some charming psychopaths walking around.
100%. And some of them are probably like really successful in like hedge funds and shit.
Yeah.
You know, people that can just like move money around, and people that are CEO of certain companies that might be making products that kill people.
Interesting.
No body, lots of Googling, murder case against Brian Walsh, maybe hard to prove, experts say. But I thought they had a knife in the blood.
This was it's a couple days ago, so Friday, I guess. This
Oh, okay. I had read that they found a bloody knife. Just the whole thing is so fucked. But I want to know if he's on something. I'd be really fascinated because there's certain drugs that will like alleviate. You won't worry about shit. So maybe he's like not worrying about like Googling all this stuff. Oh, it's all gonna work out. You know, I'm gonna kill her, but it's all gonna work out. And he's like Googling, or he might be on speed. You know, a lot of people are on speed, man. A lot of people are on Adderall. It's fucking stunning. It's stunning how many like hyped up people we have out there are really like, we have a speed culture. It makes you very efficient. You get shit done. You got plenty of energy, and some people love it. And like, how much is that flavoring our culture? Wouldn't it be nice to get rid of that, Lex? Just phase that out.
All drugs? Yeah, in general.
All problems with the mind. We could phase
Mushrooms
it out.
only.
Well, you could do it that way, but that takes a lot of work. Or we could just genetically engineer it from the jump. No more emotions.
No more emotions. Because emotions, you know, life is suffering, Dostoevsky, Nietzsche. Ultimately, you're going to, every good thing you have, eventually you're going to lose. Every hello with the person you love is eventually going to be a goodbye. Why say hello ever?
Why say hello ever again? Also, why? Why does it have to be like that? Like, we have this idea in our head that this way we live is like ultimately, because to us it provides emotions, and because it creates dilemmas and solutions and conflict and resolution. There's so much going on in our minds all the time when it comes to interacting with each other that we feel like it's imperative for existence. But why? It's just because it's the only way we've known. You know, you have to suffer in order, but why do you have to suffer in order to be happy? Wouldn't it be better if you're just happy? Like, do we really fucking need to suffer? Couldn't that be engineered out? Now, this is coming from a person who purposely suffers all the time so that I could stay happy. And it does work. But God, do I have to do it that way?
Well, there's an incredible computation machine we call evolution that has constructed human beings. You want to mess with that? You want to get a few software engineers from San Francisco to mess with the computation system that is evolution, that is Earth.
Yes.
This giant computer that for billions of years spent 1 billion years on bacteria trying to figure shit out before it advanced. And now it went through all of these incredible stages. This entire ecosystem that we call life on Earth, probably planted here by aliens. That and recently these monkeys started to get super clever. And now we're going to completely change everything.
Yes. You know why?
Why?
Because that's a part of it.
Yeah.
That is a part of evolution, is the monkeys figuring out how to fuck with everything.
Well, that's probably why we haven't have any definitive evidence of aliens from out there, because the monkeys eventually start fucking with things and destroy themselves.
They turn themselves into starfish. Whoops. Yeah.
Episode number 1726. Chuck Palahniuk shares the haunting story of his father's murder, a tragedy woven with fate, obsession, and dark family echoes.
But has there been anything in your life that was so horrific that they couldn't imagine telling you?
You know, except for my father's murder, not really.
Maybe that was it?
Maybe that was it, but boy, that doesn't seem like it's big enough. I don't know.
How was your father murdered?
Dad was murdered in May of 1999. He had answered a personals ad for a woman who was looking for a boyfriend, and the ad was headlined Kismet. I believe that's the Arab word for fate. And Dad met with her. Her name was Rita. She was a lawyer. She had worked in the prison system in the Midwest. And Dad was really, really taken with her. She was really bright and really smart. And she had an ex-husband who had sexually abused her daughter from a different marriage. And they were pressing charges against this ex-husband, and he was going to go to prison. And she had met him while he was in prison, and she was doing legal work. And she had helped him get out of prison. So she helped him get out of prison. She'd married him. He had abused her daughter. She divorced him. She was prosecuting him to send him back to prison. Then she met my father. And this ex-husband had said that if he ever caught her with another man, he would kill them both. So my father was going to pick her up, and she was going to stay at his house in the mountains until the time of the trial. And as he was going to pick her up, he was going down this mountain road on his property, and a giant boulder broke free, and it rolled down the hillside, and it blocked the road. He couldn't get out. So he spent the day with this a lever, forcing this boulder off the road. And then he took a couple extra hours, and he made a sign that said Kismet Rock, so that he could label this boulder as a kind of landmark for when he brought her back to sequester her. And he'd cleaned the house incredibly. The house was just neat as a pin and stocked with all this food. And, he really planned to have this fantastically sort of idyllic time sequestered with his new girlfriend. And he labeled the rock to surprise her. And then he went to pick her up. And when he went to pick her up, the ex-husband showed up. And he shot my father. And my father and the woman took refuge in her house, and the man set fire to the house. And the house eventually collapsed. And the coroner says that they were both dead before the fire got to them. And the coroner says that because of the angle of the shot, my father probably took about 20 minutes to die because the bullet ruptured his diaphragm. So with every breath, he would have been accumulating air between the lung and the diaphragm. And so every breath would have been more and more shallow because his lungs would have been more and more constricted by this air above the diaphragm. But that eventually he'd suffocated. And all of this sounds horrible and tragic, but it forms this fantastic pattern in my father's life because my father, when he was very small, he lived in northern Idaho with this enormous Ukrainian family. And his father went crazy one day. This is all public record. I've talked about this a lot. But his father took a rifle and walked around the house and tried to kill him, my father, and ultimately killed killed his wife, my father's mother, and then killed himself. But my father's earliest memories are of hiding underneath a bed as his father walked around the house in logging boots with a rifle, calling his name, trying to get him to come out so that he could be killed.
Jesus Christ.
And so my father spent his entire life sort of looking for his mother because as his father was trying to kill him, he was trying to find his mother, who at that point had been killed. And so my father really had this kind of serial pattern with women. He was always looking, in a way, for the woman. And ultimately, he was shot by the man with a gun in the way that he would have been shot when he was 4 years old. And one of the uncanny things is that their bodies were only preserved because a bed on the second floor of this structure, as it was burning, the bed fell over their bodies and insulated their bodies. And my father had escaped his father by hiding underneath a bed when he was a small child. And the fact that the Lonely Hearts ad was headlined Kismet, and the fact that this boulder rolled down in front of my father's car just as he was leaving,
that prevented him from getting there in time, where he probably would have been able to escape before the ex-boyfriend arrived.
or was, I don't know, there's so many odd, bizarre coincidences and synchronicities. You know, you would have to really dismiss a lot of things in order to make this not something significant.
Not fate, or not some reoccurring theme woven into time.
And in a way that, you know, understanding all these different aspects of it, it provides a comfort that it doesn't seem like this random thing. It seems like something that my father's, some aspect of my father's life that was coming full circle and was finally being completed. And maybe I am clutching at straws and I'm just a kind of person looking for significance, which is what we all are. But I'll take comfort where I can find it.
Episode 1362, Joe Rogan and Lenny Clark swap unbelievable tales. Neighbors turned victims, friends turned killers, and coincidences too dark to ignore.
I got an old lady story. When we lived at the barracks, there's 14 comedians living in that place in Howard Square. I don't know if you ever came by, because I was pretty high
was
back
the
then.
barracks?
The barracks was an apartment that Mike and I had, and we
What
opened
year was
it.
this?
Oh God, it was 80s. You know, in the beginning. You know, when stand-up.
So it was probably before my day. I came in 88.
No, it was, so 85.
And by Mike, you're saying Mike Clark.
Yeah, right. So we had this house, and it was like 3 or 4 bedrooms, and Kenny Rogerson's room, which was like a closet with a sheet over. We refer to it as the sperm room. And Kenny lived in there. And we had, the rent was $165 a month. The landlord's name was Wing Wong, and we were working at the Ding Ho for Shun Lee. So $165 between sometimes 10 guys. We didn't have it. You know, we were blowing it, all right? So now every comedian who came in from out of town, they didn't have to go to a hotel. You just go by the barracks. There was a key under the mat. At the end, there was like 11 keys under the mat. But there was this old lady next door on the 3rd floor apartment, and we would rage all night. I would break windows. I just love the sound of breaking glass. We had a window guy on call, you know, because people say, it's freezing, Lenny. Oh, call the window guy. You know, I just love to throw things through glass. I remember Sweeney ducked, and I put a bottle through the window, and he's laying on the floor, and I go, Sweeney, what's wrong with you? I'm just having fun. He goes, don't talk down to me. I go, well, you're lying on the floor. Get up, you know. So now this woman, older woman, she goes, I said, hey, I hate you, Lenny Clark. I hate you. I said, listen, I'm going to the store. You want me to get you anything? And she yelled at the top, Lenny Clark, I only live to see you dead, right? And all the neighbors, every neighbor there loved me, right? Oh, Joe, it gets worse. So now, you know, I'd send the flowers every now and then, and she'd throw them off the balcony. I don't want your fucking flower. I want you dead, right? So she ends up getting murdered.
Oh, no.
Like cut up and like decapitated. Oh yeah. So the cops come to the house one day, and I'm laying in my bed puking in a bucket, and Rogerson comes in, and he waits. He said, "Did you murder the lady next door last night?" I go, "No." He goes, "Okay, you can come in." And the cops come in. Okay. And they go, "Lenny, we don't think it was you. We got to ask you questions. Where were you last night?" And I go, I don't remember. I go, but I know I got here later. It worked out. I was at the Ding, and then we hung out after hours, and I don't know where it was, but then I get home. But, you know, that woman, I don't think they ever solved the case, but it definitely wasn't me, because I was too lazy to walk up 3 flights of stairs. We used to have police cars park in her parking space. She didn't have a car, but we'd have the paddy wagon parked down below. It was crazy.
So you'd have the cops come over and party with you?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Most of them got thrown off the force.
They never solved?
They never solved that case, as far as I know. You know,
there was a guy that I used to train with who got arrested. I don't know if you remember this case, but they took this guy and they were breaking his bones with a hammer and then injecting with cocaine to keep him awake, because he was blacking out from the pain. Oh! And they cut his hands off, they cut his head off, they cut everything off. And this dude that I knew got arrested for it. And when I asked him about it, he knew something. Like, it was one of those things where, like, you know, you ask someone, like, I go, they arrested you. I go, why would they arrest you? And it was like this, I don't know nothing. I was like, oh, you know something. I was like, holy shit. I was like, oh my God, I might know a fucking serious murderer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he went to jail for something else. I forget what he went to jail. I knew him when I was 16, and he went to jail, and then he came out. And when he came out, like all his tattoos, he had scars all over all of his tattoos. Like apparently he tried to burn his tattoos off in the joint, and he was like just a different person. Like his time in jail, and I guess he was in jail for like maybe 5 years from when I knew him.
Wow.
And he came out 5 years later and started training again before he got arrested. And just super spooky to be around somebody that you think might have done that.
No, I know of a few murderers that, yeah. I mean, I didn't know at the time when I met them, but over the years I've gone, oh my, well, the guy who got the pass, Johnny Manorano, he was on 60 Minutes. He stops at Stop and Shop in Somerville. And people go, you know what that is? I go, Johnny Manorano. He go, hey, Lenny. I went, oh, hey, Johnny. 25 murders. And you know.
How's he out?
Deals. You know, I mean, he did time. He did a lot of time.
Not
but he was
enough.
on 60. No, 25 murders. Come on, are you kidding me?
Seems like he should be in jail
Sammy
forever.
the Bull. How many did Sammy the Bull kill? And he was
lot.
out dealing.
Yeah,
he was out dealing meth in Arizona.
I think he's still out.
Yeah, he is.
I think he's out again.
Yeah. I mean, I got no beef with him.
I don't either.
So, one of my buddies in high school, his name was Bubba Good. He was the funniest person I ever met in my life, without a doubt. One day he stole 12 Corvettes, 12 red Corvettes, and lined them up outside. And in one of the Corvettes, there was a briefcase full of cash. And he went in and he bought the entire lunchroom lunch. Lunch is on me. At high school, right? Lunch is on me.
He stole Corvettes in high school?
He stole Corvettes. Oh, yeah. And he lined them up outside. You know,
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
he was amazing. So he goes to jail. He goes to Walpole. You remember Walpole State Prison, okay? So we're doing a show at Walpole. You know, a couple of guys asked me, you come in? Yeah. So they said, Mr. Clark, before you come in, we just want to let you know, if there's any drugs or drug remnants on you, you're not going to be released. And I went, oh, let me change my clothes. So I changed my clothes. I went in and I did the show. And it was really...
So they would swab you?
Yeah, it was... They just... It was,
so if they swabbed you and they found coke on your shirt,
you're
stay
staying. Yeah, and they explain that. And this is like 35 years ago, right? So, and this was when Walpole was still maximum security. You know, I mean, the worst of the worst. So we go in. And I'm with DJ and a couple of people.
DJ Hazard?
Yeah, DJ Hazard, and I think Sweeney.
How's he doing?
I think there was a cancer thing, and then he beat that. And I got stories about, but hey, good guy. Oh my God, remind me about DJ. I want to finish this. So I'm on stage, and I'm thinking, hey man, Bubba's in here, I think, right? And he jumps up on stage, and I go, Bubba. He goes, how you doing? He goes, I'm in here under an assumed name. I'm in here under Danny. This is 35 years ago. He's in Walpole under an assumed name. I mean, could that be? Well, anyway, he gets out, and then he murders some guy, and he goes back, and he's in for double life now, 2 murders. And I said to him, Bubba, why'd you kill the guy? He goes, he was talking shit. You know, he's just a little bit of a guy, but funny. I mean, he's the type of guy, if someone wanted to kick his ass, you could make them laugh so hard you couldn't punch him. He was that funny. And now he's been in for, I want to visit him, but, you know, they said it's not a good idea, but I'm going to go visit him. You know, I'm old now. He's been over 30 years now.
It's so funny how if you're in the nightclub business, like we are, you're going to run into people along the way that have done some horrible shit.
Oh. I know a guy who sawed a guy's head off.
With a saw?
I think a sword. You know, one
Jesus.
of those like samurai swords, and then threw it on a guy's lawn. I mean, there was drugs involved. I mean,
obviously.
I remember it was crack, but crack before crack. What was the freebase?
Yeah.
Freebase wasn't as bad as crack. That was for people with money.
That was the Richard Pryor days.
Okay,
Richard Pryor was into freebase.
So the first time I'm freebasing at like an MBTA station in South Boston, and I think Kennison was there, and this guy who's away for life now too, remained nameless, but I took a hit, and I'm passing out. I mean, I'm so high, I'm passing out, and all I could hear was, what are we going to do with the body? That was the last thing I heard.
Whose body?
Me.
You?
I passed
Oh,
out.
if you died?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. They thought you were overdosing?
Yeah, I thought it was. I can't. We were smoking that stuff, and you're thinking, I used to start my own heart. Boom. It punches out as I can. Oh God. Because when I finally went to the doctors and had the atrial fibrillation and all the heart damage they did, they said, well, what do you think it was? Well, maybe the weight, because I was almost 400 pounds. And I go, what about coke? And they said, well, you had to do an awful lot of coke. I said, well, there's a small mountain in Peru that's missing. You think it's really that much? And I go, oh yeah.
Episode number 1851. Chris Williamson, The Purpose of Psychopaths. Joe Rogan and Chris Williamson reveal why they exist and how they survive among us.
I learned about the adaptive reason for psychopaths being in society. So you'd think like it's about 1%, 0.1% to 1% of people are psychopathic, right? And then you can filter that down to the ones that have got sufficient motivation to actually go and do something that's a bit wild. But I was asking this guy, the researcher, and I was saying, look, what is it? How do psychopaths even exist? Like, why do they exist? I can't understand why they're adaptive. I know that you can be effective over short periods as a psychopath, but over long periods of time, it doesn't end up being very good for society. And I thought it would have been bred out. He said, yeah, you're right, except for the fact that over the entire size of a population, a few psychopaths actually make sense. If you're a raiding party, a Viking raiding party that needs to go over and fuck everybody up in Lindisfarne, which is near to where I lived in the UK, you want some psychopaths. You don't want them to come back with PTSD. You want them to go over there, burn everything down, rape the women, pillage, come back with gold and supplies and grain and whatever else they take, and not care about it. You actually, on an individual level, psychopathy might not be fantastic for the people around them, but in a tribe, it's actually quite adaptive and quite useful. It's like a weapon, like a very specific sort of weapon that you can use.
Yeah, break glass in case of war.
Yes, in case of raiding party.
It makes sense that it would be sort of a legacy thing that exists in the human population, that we've had it because it was very beneficial thousands of years ago.
But the difference is now that you're not going to get pulled up as much for being a psychopath because you can move from town to town. If it was a Dunbar number of 100 or 150 or something in your tribe previously, what are you going to do? Go to the next tribe? Maybe that would have happened. I don't know. Perhaps you could move from one tribe to another tribe. It seems pretty unlikely. You'd probably just get killed. But if you fuck over people one too many times, this is the reason that socially we're so careful of status. It's one of the reasons why we are concerned about public speaking, because one of the few times you would have done that is when your status would have been in high focus, and people might have said, if this goes badly, they're going to drop down, or maybe you were defending yourself against the tribe of some kind.
Right.
If you're not able to move on, that would make psychopathy more difficult to manage and more likely to be punished, I think. But now you can just go from town to town to town within a city. You can go from suburb to suburb, change your name, not use your social media profile anymore. I think that psychopathy, people that are actively being psychopaths, are significantly easier now to hide in amongst society.
That makes sense. It also makes sense that psychopathy would have been more common because it would have been more useful when you're constantly in tribal war.
Correct.
Yeah.
But it depends on how you deploy it. So it's interesting. Psychopathy, to be a clinically diagnosed psychopath, you actually have to have committed criminal acts. So you can't be, because of the way that the current psychopathic checklist is called, I think you have to be 28 out of 40 in the UK or 30 out of 40 in the US. The US has got a higher threshold for psychopaths, which is kind of funny. And there was this guy, this researcher, who was researching psychopaths. And what you see is a particular area of the brain is downregulated, right? So you don't see as much activity when you see stuff like death or images that would cause you to have empathy. So he decides that he's going to study a bunch of psychopaths, many of whom I think are actually in prison because you have to have committed a criminal act. And then he needs a control group. So the control group is going to be, you're a professor, you've got students, use the students. And he was running out of people to put in the control group. I mean, he even used himself as one of the people. So anyways, running through this control group and having a look at all of the people that are in it. And he notices this person's got no activation when they're going through. And he goes, holy shit, this is the brain of a psychopath in the control group. I found a psychopath in here. I need to go and contact them. It turned out to be him.
Oh.
Turned out to be the professor himself. He discovered that he was a psychopath whilst doing a study on psychopaths. And then he said, actually, you know what? It all makes sense now. Because when people come round to my house and they're eating my food, I think, who the fuck are all of these people in my house eating my food? Why are they here? And they interviewed his kids. They asked his kids. And they said, what is it like? You know, is there anything unique about Dad? And he said, well, yeah, Dad, he doesn't smile that much around us, and he's not very warm, and he's not very loving, and blah, blah, blah. But the point being that you can have the biological determinants of being a psychopath and it not manifest. This was a fully functioning guy, wife, kids, career, didn't smile much, wasn't happy when people ate his food, but like broadly fine. But he had essentially the same raw materials as the person that was murder in jail.
So what's the determination? What are they looking for when they find out that he's a
whole big long checklist? It might even be available online, I'm not sure, but big long checklist of things that you need to go through, a bunch of questions that you answer, and they go through this diagnosis. But in order to breach the threshold of clinically being diagnosed as a psychopath, you have to have used it to commit crimes. So this meant that although this particular professor had all of the raw ingredients and it looked like he was psychopathic, by the DNS? What's that thing? The Diagnostic Statistical Manual, DSM. The DSM wouldn't have categorized him as a psychopath. Very interesting.
That is very interesting. So this guy, did they contact his spouse?
Well, I think it was him doing the study, right? So I guess he contacted his spouse.
Did he ask his spouse, like, what's wrong with me?
Well, fuck knows. But
why do you like me?
Perhaps. But then you also have to think the fact that psychopaths tend to be pretty effective in the world, right? So someone that has very outgoing traits, they're super self-assured, you have a narcissism as well, as long as it's not vulnerable narcissism. There's two types, grandiose narcissism and vulnerable narcissism.
What's the difference?
So grandiose narcissists are the ones who genuinely believe that they are better than everybody else. They are constantly proving this to everyone. Vulnerable narcissists manifest their narcissism in a similar way, but it's to try and hide the fact that deep down they don't believe that they're anything. So both types of narcissism will manifest in a similar sort of way. Both of them will be out there, but one person is desperately seeking approval and needs people to tell them that they've done well, and the other one doesn't. They're just going to continue believing no matter what reality brings to them. Now, the vulnerable narcissists are actually really dangerous, and the reason for that is that if the world doesn't give to them that which they think, they're going to get very, very angry and aggressive, because that taps into something that maybe they're fearful about that's deep down.
That makes sense. That makes sense where a lot of people who have a distorted perception of where they should be in the world are angry at others who are doing well.
Mm-hmm. And if someone takes them down, if somebody was to take the piss out of them, the grandiose narcissist, it would just be water off a duck's back. I don't care.
Trump.
Yep. Yeah, definitely grandiose narcissist, right? He's not got vulnerable narcissism in him. Right. Someone that's a vulnerable narcissist, everybody knows that friend that just can't not bring up the most recent brilliant thing they've done, but they know that if they poke them a little bit too hard, that it would really, really hurt. That's the vulnerable narcissist.
Yeah.
There's this one time, one of the creepiest places we've ever been is kind of a story like that. Have you ever heard of the Villisca axe murders?
No.
So in Villisca, Iowa, there was this serial killer that came in, apparently. And small little town, a couple thousand people or whatever, little house, and somehow this guy was able to come into the house, kill 2 parents and 6 kids all in one house with an axe.
Tiny house.
Without getting caught at all. And to this day, it's an unsolved murder.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And it's just so bizarre. And that was one of the places that, like, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, we went there.
Oh my God, look at the fucking sign in front of it. Jesus Christ. They got Villisca axe murder house and it's dripping blood. If you were a neighbor, you'd be like, hey, bro, maybe take that fucking sign down.
Yeah, exactly. A little insensitive for sure.
Jesus Christ. So that was in 1912.
That's when that all happened, yeah.
So over 100 years. But that was like one of those things that we'd researched, and that was like interesting. But as soon as we stepped foot in that house, it was a whole different vibe.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that like, it was one of the few times we actually had to leave. So halfway, like after doing a little tour with the whole with the tour guide, he was telling us all these stories, and just like being in there was weird. Like our buddy was like feeling like he's gonna throw up, and it was just like really odd. Like that doesn't happen every time, but when it does, it's kind of like, and it might be because of how fucked up it was.
Right.
There was a lot of things that went down in this murder.
Well, it's also about it, right? It would have been interesting if someone brought you into the house without telling you anything. Like, how do you feel in this place? And then see how you feel then.
Right. Is it like a placebo effect maybe that because you know the story, you're walking in there?
I mean, that's a crazy placebo, right? Like to know that a whole family's murdered with a fucking axe.
Right. And the most gruesome part about it is the killer used the blunt side of the axe. So you can still, because we went there to investigate, you can still see like the axe markings in the ceiling when he was going back.
Oh God.
To go down. And again, it's so weird because there was like on the top floor there was like the parents' room, but then right like 5 steps down a wooden creaky hallway was the children's room where there was 4 of them, and then there was 2 more of like their daughter's friends that they were hanging out with that were downstairs that got murdered as well.
So how is it possible that he was able to get to all of them with the blunt side? And just
did he break in or was he hiding like in the attic? Like we don't know.
Really creepy.
Yeah, I think
so. That was the one that got you the most.
Yeah,
like that like true crime world is like really really messed up because like again like the stories you hear too and the allegations of these people is like, oh God, because for that particular ex murder, the little girls downstairs apparently were the last ones getting killed, and because of that. The killer was apparently reported that he like would, this is like really disturbing,
trigger warning.
Yeah, like would like unclothe the little girls, and he sat there and he pleasured himself in front of these like dead
with
people.
Like a big like slab of bacon.
It was like those types of gruesome
with a
stories.
big slab of bacon.
A big slab
too?
of bacon. He like sexually pleasured himself to these like dead bodies. Yeah, of like girls under like 10 too. I think, or 15, something like that.
And it never happened again? And then they never found the guy? Did they have suspects?
So they do have suspects. And what's really interesting is the 2 main suspects that a lot of people talk about were not the ones that we ended up talking about in our video. Just because right before doing research on this location, we saw this author that just came out with a book about a serial killer. And she thinks she solved the Villisca Axe murders because that same exact style of murder was actually this the serial killer that went from Midwest town to Midwest town on a train, and it's called The Man from the Train. And the same exact thing. So like things like covering the mirrors after like the death, and like the back of an axe. The fact that he was left-handed, which
he would eat meals like afterwards. Like he'd like make himself a meal and sit with all the dead bodies and eat. Yeah, cover up every like window because he was like ashamed that if he saw his reflection or something like that. And every single spot that this traveling serial killer went to would cover the windows and do weird things like that, ritual things. Yeah.
So how many different times did this guy supposedly do this?
I don't know. I think he did a lot. Like this specific serial killer did like dozens of times, but the 2 main
with
suspects.
Axes.
Yeah, with axes, which is weird. And then they explained to us why. And this is a little gruesome too, but if you do the sharp side of an axe, it'll get stuck in your skull. But if you destroy the skull with the back side, the blunt side, then you can pick up the axe faster. And it was like, God, like that's so
and we thought,
gruesome.
like we were like, maybe he, drugged the family beforehand or like chloroformed them or something, and there was no sign of like any drugs like used.
It's so weird.
According to the book, The Man on the Train, they describe him for being responsible for up to, feeling certain that Mueller committed 14 family murders totaling 59 victims, less certain varying degrees of his involvement, and another 25 family murders totaling an additional 94 victims.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And there's even one in Germany they think might have been attached to him.
Do you have a photo of this guy?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So what was his name?
Mueller.
Like Paul Mueller or something?
And why did they think it was him specifically? Did he get arrested?
I'm just looking at the Wikipedia that breaks down the book. So
He just like
the book.
The style of the murders were so similar, and the 2 other main suspects that they hadn't murdered anybody previously. And so this guy just coming in train by train to all these different cities.
Yeah, the other suspects were just like not as intense, I guess you could say. Where it was like there was like this one guy named like Jones, I believe, who was just a businessman that maybe had like some rivalry in business with the family, but wouldn't result to like murder for that. And then there was also just like a creepy reverend who was like a peeping Tom sort of character that was just like the town creep that everybody thought it was.
Here's the main thing on why I guess they think what they think. I don't know if you can read that. It might be a little small.
Yeah, according to the Jameses, a number of murders in the period were assumed by local police to be one-off incidents were actually committed by a single person, probably Mueller, based on certain similarities among the crimes. The similarities include the same being within a few hundred feet of railroad junction. Okay, so that's the book's title. It says the slaughter of entire families in small towns with little or no police force, and the families having a barn which the killer is believed to have hidden to observe the families. Oh,
which Villisca had.
Oh my God, that's so fucking. Imagine this guy like waiting in the barn, watching the family go to sleep.
For how many days, before he did it?
And they were all at church service before it all happened as well, which is horrible.
Yeah.
Jesus
Add
Christ.
insult to injury.
So that one particular, you felt something when you were in that place.
I mean, you just walk in and it just feels, it's hard to explain, but you can feel the negativity in the air where it's almost like, as crazy as it sounds, like the air feels thicker in a way.
Episode number 1304, Joe Rogan and Brendan Schaub, The Manson Obsession. Joe and Brendan explore why people are drawn to serial killers and the dark legacy of Charles Manson.
But I was doing a show on Sirius with Jim Norton, and he brought in the guy who basically created Mindhunter. He was he's interviewed all the serial killers and speaks to them. Yeah. And they brought him in. I think his name's John Douglas. They brought him in. He's just talking. It was fascinating. I was like, oh shit. So I got his book. Almost finished his book. I'm like, this is great, man. And then started listening to a podcast he's on. It's just about like murder and death. And I started looking up all this Charles Manson stuff. And I've been having awful nightmares and been a little depressed. And you know me, it's very rare I'm down. It's just a dark fucking world, man.
Yeah, you watch those true crime shows, they'll fuck your head up, man.
Dude, it makes you scared of everything.
But
it's also going on.
It's going on
right?
in very small numbers. Very, very small numbers, but it is going on. What it is like people that have been abused, people that have been fucked up, psychopaths, and people that have been through the correction system, through the penal system. Yeah, that's a lot of it.
It's so dark, man.
There's not that many of them.
And this guy has 3 daughters. I was like, how can you, like he was talking about this 7-year-old, terrible story. And I was like, how can you go home, man, and sleep? He's like, eventually, it's just a job. Like it does affect me a little bit. I'm like, do you just lock up your kids? Like I'd be like, just from hearing you, I don't want my son going to school. I don't want him leaving. He's like, nah, you learn to manage it. And he did say that. He's like, this is the exception. Like there's some dark stuff out there, but these gentlemen that he interviewed, Charles Manson, he was saying how he's 5'2", and he always has to speak over you, no matter what's going on. So they were in this room, there's 3 people, and Charles Manson, he got on a chair and stood over him and shouted down to him.
What was he saying?
I don't probably try and convert him into his
You
fucking
made
cult.
me, man. You people made me eat your garbage, man.
Hey, man.
Man. I'm a product of your society, man.
He's fucking crazy.
He was crazy.
He had
He's
a
dead as
quote, though.
fuck.
He has a quote, though, I was reading. Again, I'm too into it, man. I'm quoting Charles Manson. What's going on with my life? He was saying that it used to be like you were the exception when you're crazy. Now everybody's crazy.
That's what Manson was saying?
Yeah. He's like, used to be kind of cool, the in thing to be crazy. Now in society, everybody's crazy.
Well, he made it popular. The fuck?
Do you know how popular that fucking crazy serial killer is and all his followers?
Oh, my God.
Even to this day, like I was reading this article in Rolling Stones, how many books and even merch, and to buy locks of his hair is $50,000. It's going for $50,000 to buy locks of his hair. And how he sells merch. That's
$50,000 for
insane.
locks of his hair?
Yeah.
How much is a lock? Like, what does that get you?
I don't know.
Like, you could
I
cut
lost
a lock
out on
up in half.
I lost out on the bid.
Cut a lock in half. You know what I'm saying?
What's
like,
up?
Who's to say how many?
Joe, let's split it. Put it in here,
who's
bro.
to say how many hairs
What's
is
up,
in
man?
a lock?
Yeah, no.
How
Could
much
be
do
a
you think
big piece, though.
What if he shaves his balls and you give like a saran wrap baggie of his pubes? How much is that worth?
100 G's. Piece of his
probably
dick piece. 100 G's, dude. Charles Manson dick piece.
He was married when he died. The crazy bitches find serial killers in jail and marry them. Happened with Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
Yeah, there's
Happens
some
with a lot of
sexual
people.
thing to it, right?
Yeah, some women want to be around killers, and even in particular, guys have killed women.
How crazy is that?
It's very crazy.
Can you imagine when your daughters, when they're, let's say, 22,
marries a serial killer
in prison? At least you know she's not going to die, but safe.
Look, there's people out there, I don't have to tell you, that do a fucking terrible job of raising their kids. You know, it's one of the reasons why people like you, people like me, people that get into being a parent, that really enjoy it, when you see something like that, it's even more disturbing because you know that when you see a serial killer or someone who's fucked up, that person was a baby that had a terrible life, like almost always. They just got a shitty roll of the dice. They got bad parents.
It's usually the moms. It's the relationship with the moms that fuck them up. Not so much the fathers. Usually the mother-son relationship.
Really?
Yeah. It's usually always mother-son, and that's what usually causes the horrible...
That's why Norman Bates from Psycho was so dead on, right?
Yep.
And he's dealing with his mom. He dressed up like his mom.
You hear that
people.
guy, and he's the one who literally, he's Jeffrey Dahmer, Charles Manson. When there's something he was talking about John Bonet, which, I'm from Denver, went to school in Boulder. That was the John Bonet Ramsey murder case was such a big deal.
Yeah.
And
they still can't sell that house.
They can't sell it. No, I had a buddy, my strength coach, Doc Crease, rented it. It was like, fuck a ghost, and moved in there. Right after the murders. Anyway, so...
How did he handle it? Did he freak out?
No, he's cool. He's from Louisiana, like real tough dude. Didn't give a fuck.
It's
he
like
says he
Theo.
didn't give a
They're
fuck.
missing a chromosome down there.
Yeah, you'd be pretty crazy to move in there. It was a great deal, and it was a great spot.
It was for sale for years.
For years. I think they might have knocked it down.
They should.
I drove to the O.J. Simpson.
They should knock it down.
place.
They should take out all the dirt and replace it with new dirt.
Yeah, they should
That's
just
what they
knock
should
down
do.
everything.
Just knock it down and dig a hole all the way to hell. Whatever the fuck dirt was there.
It's so dirty, man. But that dude, he was just talking, and it was fascinating. I didn't say a word. And then we went to John Bonet. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to chime in here because I know this case, and I know it well. And Jim asked him a question. That was like my time to jump in. I go, yeah, but it's probably the parents, right? Or maybe the son. And he hasn't acknowledged me this entire interview. I don't know if Jim noted this. And he goes, what'd you say? I goes... And I could tell I fucked up. I go, it's probably the parents or the son, right? And he goes, absolutely not. Absolutely not, Brendan. And then goes on how ridiculously of an assumption that is. And I go, well,
who does he think did it?
It's not them. He goes, the problem is the narrative that got painted outside of that when the media was going crazy, and even the Boulder police, he goes, they were so far off, and he listed like 10 reasons why it wasn't them, and I kind of felt like an idiot. I went, very cool, I'll buy the book. I'm going to shut the fuck up now.
The only problem was that a handwriting expert had connected the mother's handwriting to the ransom note.
Dude, get him on this podcast. It'd be fucking fascinating. He's doing promotion right now.
I mean, I have no idea who killed John Bonet
Johnny
Ramsey,
Douglas. This
but
guy
I do
does.
remember. I don't think he knows.
No, he knows it. He can tell you from his 70 years of experience dealing with murders, it's not the parents, but he had like evidence why it wasn't. Because I said the same things, right? I'm balls deep in John Bonet. I grew up around it. It was like such a culture phenomenon.
But did he say who he thinks it is?
Yeah, he did. And I forget, but it's not the parents.
Someone who's alive?
I don't know. You got to have him on.
Okay.
It was so. I'm telling you, I've listened to a shitload of shows, and I was so into this, man. I didn't even promote my special. I was there to promote my special. I didn't say a word.
Yeah.
I made one stupid comment about John Bonet's family, and then he was like, "Shut the fuck up."
Those fucking shows are very compelling, man.
Why do you think that is?
Crime shows.
Why do you think? Why are we? Well, like, why am I drawn to? Am I fucked up? Like, why am I drawn to this serial killer
if
shit?
you are fucked up, you're just like everybody else. Because
why
those
did I
shows
buy
are
Charles
super
Manson's
popular.
pubes on eBay?
How much did you pay?
70 G's, man. Can you imagine?
70 G, but his pubes, they plucked him out, so it has some DNA in him.
Dude.
You could recreate Charles Manson. What is this? Charles Manson's hair. $2,400.
That's a
This
steal.
is for a bag of hair off the head of Charles Manson. It was obtained July 2016 from an associate of Charles Manson.
Oh, no, that's
a
weak, dude.
COA will be certificate of authenticity will be included upon purchase. By the way, there are no certificates of authenticity when it comes to Charles Manson's hair. It's not like there's an accrediting body
who's like, it's his DNA. It's definitely him.
We go over every aspect of this purchase.
That shit's weak though, man. You want that 1970s hair strain. You don't want the updated shit.
You want
It's
to be
all gray.
there when he cuts it off, really. Yeah, you want to film him cutting it off, and then you want to vacuum seal it and sign it and film the whole thing. You put it in one of them fucking vacuum bags and
then sell it.
And then seal it. Yeah, that way no one's touched it. Chops right off his hair. You got video footage of it. You got video footage of him autographing the bag. What the fuck is wrong with us? Why are we talking about this?